Hi, this is Neil Walters of neilsvideos.com. Today, I thought I'd ask the question, could a person make a living playing Town Star? And then the next question would be when? Could he do it today? Could he do it a year from now? Could he do it 10 years from now? So I say he or she could do it. So if you go to Discord, which you pretty much have to be on Discord if you're going to be in the Town Star, the reason is here in Gala, they have all these groups for the different games, and you want to read the discussion uh, forum or whatever it's called quite often because you'll find tips and secrets in there that you're not going to hear on videos and stuff like that. Just for example, today I learned that when you close the browser and reopen it, which is something I do maybe once or twice a day to make sure I don't get any errors in the middle of the night, what can happen is your skins on your NFTs can be turned off, at least some of them. And so you have to go back into your NFTs and reapply them. And therefore you could be losing speed when you're not aware of that. So that's what I learned today from the Discord. There's another forum over here called Townstar FAQ, frequently asked questions. And here is the current competition, the rewards for this week. But I think they've changed the reward structure a little bit here. Oh, there's three different pictures here, but if you click the one on the left, it'll make it bigger. You can read the whole thing. And then we can actually compare that. I just went back in time travel, and this is what it was before. Okay, so this is before and after. So, is that good news or bad news? Well, they were paying the top 1,200 positions. I know before they were doing 1,000 positions, top 1,000. Now they've expanded it to 1,200. I'm kind of like what I call a middle of the road player. This week I'm going to be around about 490 to 500. I'm estimating, which is in this area. If I would have tuned my town a day earlier, I probably would have been maybe in the 300 to 400s. But you can see the difference there is, it almost doubles your money. If you can move from the like 450 to 350, you're going to double your reward. So it might be worth it, right? So we'll talk about the price of the coin in just a minute. Now look at the top prizes though. Wow, those guys are going to make out pretty good in this change. And then if you're in position like 100, it was 1,400. Ooh, that guy went down. So if you're in the 100 or so, it went down to 675. It's almost like reminds me of like the government, how they change the taxes, right? If you're in the different tax brackets, what your taxes might be each year. Well, this is the other way around. This is what they're rewarding you. And there's nothing to say they won't change it again tomorrow. So that's one of the things when you ask the question as to whether or not you can earn a living on this is the game stable or are they constantly changing it? And I think they're still in the fine tuning mode, but they're getting ready for a mayhem, which we'll talk about probably in a video in the next week or so when we know a little bit more about it. Um, Now, back to the question on earning a living. Well, let's assume you're not going to be in the top 100, okay? And let's face it, this game is sort of, okay, let's talk about three words. Someone asked in the forum the other day, I thought they were kind of simple questions, but maybe they hadn't played for a year. Is Townstar free to play? Yes, anyone can get an account with a Gala, and you can play Townstar for free. So anybody can get into this competition and win. And I don't know how hard, I do not know how hard it is to get in like the 600 to 1,200 position. I would imagine getting the lowest level payout here probably isn't too hard if you spend a few hours on the game during the week. Okay. Now, the next question they had was, is it play to earn? So yes, you can see here that we are playing to earn because you can earn Gala. And then not only do you earn Gala, now you're going to, and I guess in the same competition, you're going to earn an NFT, right? I guess, I don't know if next week, each competition then, well, actually the next competition, I guess will be May Mayhem because usually we have a week off and then it's usually another competition on the next Tuesday. So maybe the next one is going to be Mayhem. But anyway, this week we're earning both an NFT and Gala. And So anyway, it is play to earn. And then the next question is it play, is it pay to win? And it sort of is. Bitbender in one of his AMAs, which is Ask Me Anything, that's one of their webinars they do occasionally. He said that, well, that's the way real sports is. Like if someone competes in the Olympics, they either have to raise money or they have to have some money, right? Because just for example, I don't know, maybe if you're on the USA team, they'll fly you to like China or wherever the Olympics are that year, right? But it takes a lot of work and practice to get there. And unless you hire a coach, for example, you may not be in the Olympics, right? Even if you have the best talent in the world, you might need to be coached. You need to go to a gym. You need to pay money for the gym. You need to maybe pay money to have some track suits or to have some weights at home or some kind of equipment or some kind of tracking software or whatever. So people pay to win in competitions, and Townstar, in a way, is kind of like that. And the way they do that, or some people do it, all of us to different levels, is by buying these NFTs. NFTs are the what I'm starting to call cards in the game. They're like cards that you play, and they make the game easier or more productive based on which cards you play. And I think in the future, I think that could lead to some interesting things. Right now, the way the economics works are like they offer these NFTs. I think almost every Monday or at least every 2 weeks, if not every week. And it's a way for Gala to raise money because they'll sell. If they sell 1,000 NFTs for $100 each, that's one way they fund their software development. And Bitbenders also said they have like 420 or more programmers on staff. They obviously have to pay all the wages of all their employees, right? So, for example, like last week, they sold this seaweed stand, I think they call it, platinum seaweed stand. It was like $400. And I totally forgot about it, first of all. And by the time I got there, it was sold out. But I don't think I would have spent $400 on it, even though it's worth it in a way if you're playing the fishing part of the game. So they just created this whole new structure where, if you look at my prior video, they added these different fishing items. So we have salmon and making sushi and raising eels and shrimp and things like that in your town. So they added a whole bunch of new features to the town, and obviously that costs the company money to develop all that new stuff, all the artwork and the programming and the configuration they have to put into it. So when they do something like that, then they add these new NFTs, and like the second NFT for the fish farming was, let me think, because I did buy it. Oh, is the seafood warehouse. And so, for example, at the seafood warehouse, if you don't have the NFT, you have to build ice, and ice cost about over $3 million of in-game cash to build the buildings necessary to make your ice blocks, which are needed then to make your seafood storage. So now I paid 100 and whatever it was, $30 for this NFT that I can just plop down one seafood storage, and it holds 60 items instead of the normal 20 items that come in the game. So that's an example of not necessarily pay to win, but pay to get ahead, right? So by having that NFT, actually, I forgot I even had it this week, or actually, I didn't buy it, I think, till the second day of the game where I'd already built my storage units. But anyhow, if you have those cards or those NFTs and you remember to play them and you're in the right type of game and you have the cards that benefit that game, you will move up in these rankings, obviously, right? Now, even though I have a lot of NFTs, I think I still lack some of the skills obviously needed to be in the top, more of the top positions. I did a video recently called something like "Why You Aren't in the Top 200 on Townstar," and you might want to go back and review that. NFTs was one of the reasons, but there were many other reasons, and part of it is just learning the game, learning the mechanics, learning how it works, and then spending the time to tune it. And it's also a very time-consuming game, and if you work during the day, for example, you have a slight disadvantage. And I'm just amazed at all the people in the forum there. I'm like, what do these people do for a living? Either they're broke or they're rich, I think, because if they're broke, they don't have jobs, so they play Townstar. If they're rich, they buy all these NFTs and they play Townstar, right? So if you're in the middle of the road and you work, then you have to play in the evenings and stuff, and you're not going to do as well again as the people who are more like full time into this. And then a lot of people are probably programmers or and people who have work at home jobs where they can pop in the game every couple hours and do a little tweak on it or something like that. Okay, so back to the original question: can you earn a living? Well, different people have different standards of living, obviously, right? So let's look at the Townstar price. Okay, this is tradingview.com. I have like a paid version of this that lets me do nice little charts and stuff. You can see it over here flashing in green or red or white, depending on whether it's going up or down. The current price is nearly 4 cents, 0.04 basically, 0.039. And it's been, jiggling up and down here in this price range for a while. It got as low as, ooh, under 2 cents for a while. But now let me show you. If we go back in time, actually to make it going back in time easier, I'm going to change the um, granularity of my chart here to daily. Okay, whoops. Right now I have it on 8 hours. And this determines how many candles you see or how many of those little uh, points are on your graph. Okay, now I'm going to scroll back a little. What I'm doing is on the right side here, this is like the scale. Okay, I could do this off video, but I'm going to try to do it real time here. Maybe. Every time I make a video, it just slows everything I do on the computer. Okay, that took me a minute. And these are all indicators down here, and I can turn those on and off, but they're okay. So you can see the price started, this is prehistory. Whenever TradingView decided to start tracking the price of this, the price was in this range. So, it looked like it was like about 3 or 4 cents then, and that's what it is now. So in that respect, in a year or 2 years, it hasn't really changed. However, look what happened here. In November of 21, that coin skyrocketed basically, and it went up to maybe a high of 70 to 80 cents per coin, which you're getting close to $1 a coin at that point. Now, let's go back to our little picture here. If, just for example, the Gala was worth $1 a coin, then if you got in the top 400 here, you'd be making $250 in the competition. And there are 2 competitions per month. If they both pay Gala and NFTs, which I can't guarantee they'll do that in the future, you can make $500 a month by playing Gala and being a middle range player. Okay, now in the US, you probably can't live on that, but there are parts of the world where people easily live on $500 or they live well on $500. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do with these NFTs, when you actually win one, that's going to help you play better on the next competition, typically, right? So if you have an advantage and other people don't have it, that might help you move up the chart. But you got to keep thinking if people are playing every week, they're getting those same NFTs too. The other thing you can do is you can take an NFT that you won and you can go to OpenSea.io, OpenSea.io, and you set it up with your MetaMask or whatever your preferred wallet is, and you can actually transfer your NFT off of Gala into a regular wallet, and then you can sell it on OpenSea, and you might be able to get $25, $50, or $100, whatever, for your NFT. So that's another way you can actually make money with Townstar. There's a third way of making money with Townstar that was really, really popular a year or 2 ago. I can't remember the time period, but there are some NFTs that gave daily rewards. And what was happening was people were basically cashing in their daily rewards. And that, I think that was one of the reasons it drove the price from like 70 cents back down to like, 2, 3, 4 cents or whatever it was. Because everybody was selling their Gala from these rewards they were making, and it's just the way the economics work. So Gala has actually hired some economists, and they've been reworking how the game's going to work. And I believe, well, of course, Mayhem is special, but at some point they keep telling us that this NFT daily rewards are coming back. And so if you own those types of NFTs, you can earn daily rewards for playing. And so we don't know exactly how that's going to pan out. It's probably not going to be near as good as it was in the past, but it's still going to be a way that we can hopefully make and earn some Gala in the near future. Now, who is good at playing Townstar? I'm a software developer, so I think anybody with a business mind or actually kind of like an operations manager, that's what you kind of are when you play Townstar. You're operating a town. Not exactly you're the mayor, it's not quite like that, but it's like you're in charge of production. And the more you get your town to produce, you win by getting the most points. The points actually change from competition to competition. Like this week, we're basically forced to make salmon and salmon nigiri and then something called a sushi boat. Whereas another competition, you might make fancy cakes. And another competition, it might just be to sell gas or something like that. So the competition changes from each every 2 weeks when there's a competition. And your job is basically to maximize your town using strategies that you come up with. And that has to do with where you place your buildings, where you place your buildings in, so that your workers can go pick up the things the fastest, how many buildings to make, and then when to make those buildings. And so there's always little twists and paths that make the game kind of challenging and I'd say addicting. There's many of us, I think, that are just basically addicted to Townstar. There's not a lot of other games like it. Uh, there used to be something called Sim City, but I don't think Sim City rewarded you for producing things, and the things that you produce didn't change from week to week, and they didn't have competitions, for example. There is another game that Vendor mentioned once that has to do with like a little factory where you're trying to make the most items. It so it's kind of similar to that. So yeah, think of it as a factory where you're trying to maximize what comes off the assembly line. Except instead of being one factory, it's a whole town and it's a series of buildings that allow you to do that. So if you never heard of what Gala is or never played a Townstar before, that just gives you an idea. So hopefully I've kind of given you some ideas to think about and chew on as to whether a person could earn a living playing Townstar, and at least you could make some nice money if Gala goes back up to $1. Now, going back to that chart for a minute, let's go back. Now I'll wrap up in just a second. So first of all, if you were just to buy Gala now at 4 cents and it goes to say 60 cents, you make, I think that's 15 times, it should be 15 times your money. So there's not many investments in the world that you can do a 15x, right? And that's if it only goes to 60. What happens lots of times with cryptos, they'll hit a high, they'll come down, as all the cryptos have, the cryptocurrencies. And then next time, lots of times what they'll do is they'll go up more than the past. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gala goes to, say, $1.30 to even $2 in, I'm going to say 2024. Probably not this year. But I think this year it'll go up. Then there might be a drop again, and then it'll go on up further. There's this interesting thing called Elliott wave, where it's patterns of how things go up. And there's a common pattern that it goes up a lot on leg 3, which maybe it'll be this year, and then leg 4 it will drop a lot, but not like it dropped here. And then wave 5 or the fifth leg, it will go up to its max, and then it will come down crashing again. But usually every time they crash, they end up higher than they were before. So like even if Gala was to go to say $2 and then crash, hopefully the price then would be say 30, 40, 50 cents instead of 4 cents like it is now. So that I believe is quite possible. And that's another thing I've been meaning to say on several videos. You know, when they come up with these new NFTs for sale, are they good investments? Well, you know, you can't even use the word investment when you're talking on the Gala forums. They don't like us to talk about money there. But this is my YouTube channel. I can talk about what I want, right? And this is not financial advice. But if it's like, for instance, if you took $100, say I just, well, no, let's use the $400 example. Let's say if you took that $400 for that platinum seaweed thing, let me show you what you could have made if you just bought Gala, for example. So this is purely hypothetical, but if you had $400 and you bought Gala and say it goes to $1, well, that's pretty easy. 400 times 1 is $400. I said that wrong. That didn't make any sense. Sorry. The current price is 0.04. So let's do this the other way. Where if it goes to $1, you divide that by the current price of 0.04, that should be a 25x on your money. Okay. So if you took the $400 and bought Gala with it instead of buying the platinum seaweed NFT, take 25 times your $400 and you would have $10,000 in your pocket. Not in your pocket, but in the coin. So if you were smart enough, if Gala went up to $1 and you were to sell it, you would make 10 grand on $400. So every time you spend money on NFT, think of that in the back of your head. That's one reason I wasn't sure I was going to pay the $400 because there are many NFTs now that I would rather put the $400 in and get even a 10, 20, 30, 40x. And I think some of them are going to do better than that. I've been in crypto a while. I'm a member of at least 3 different groups or 4 where I hear different people talk about what cryptos are going to do. And I believe they're going to go up in 2023, but probably not to the max until 2020, the next max, the next super max, I think will be in 2024. But what they're talking about is maybe this year we'll make some money and then you might sell part of it and then buy back. And then 2024, we might see a huge high or blow off top, sometimes they call it, and then perhaps a crash after that. So I believe there's a time where a lot of money can be made in cryptos. And I'll do a video on this in the future that'll explain some of the guys I listen to, and I'll give you the resources if you want to become members of those groups. They're all private paid memberships, and I think that's the best way to learn about cryptos because what you watch on YouTube, it seems like everybody's promoting something, and they all have their own agendas, or they're just not well trained. And like some of the guys I listen to have 30 years experience of trading like foreign exchange and currencies and stocks and options and other things, and they're applying the knowledge they have in those fields to the field of cryptos. So anyway, they would probably say Gala is a gamble, though. However, so that rather than putting the 400 all in Gala, you might want to put it in something like H bar, Theta, or T Fuel. Other ones I like from listening to all these guys. ADA Cardano's a good one. Dot will be good. Polka Dot. Um, anyway, I'm not going to list them all. So that's my video today, and hope you found it interesting. A little off my usual video. I want to get back to making non-town star videos again. It's just it takes time to make videos, right? And you have to not do something else when I'm making a video. So I would like to start making some other videos and improve my channel to not just be, not have this funnel vision like, oh, all I do is play Town Star games, because I do a lot of other things. I don't know about you. So thanks for watching. Likes and comments are good. I read all the comments and we'll answer them if you have questions. Maybe not the same day, but within the week, hopefully. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye-bye.